Hi, welcome back to my channel. I've been documenting a series of dreams that I've had over the last 2 to 3 years, which I'm just now getting to doing video documentation of them. I have them recorded here, but I don't have them recorded on camera, so I thought I'd take the time now to do so. I feel led to, and I'm just following the lead. So I've already shared with you the dreams that I've had of the earthquakes and the volcanic eruptions, and I think that's all that I've shared with you so far, but I have seen terrorism, including bioterrorism. I've seen a time where pure evil seemed like it was raining in the world, and I saw a bombed out city, just like something you'd see in the history books. You know, I saw the gates of a city literally bombed out, and the sky had an orange glow to it because of the dust and the smoke from the bombs and the things that were taking place. I don't remember hearing a bird. You know, I don't remember hearing a bird chirp or hearing a dog bark or anything. It's like all life had kind of come to a standstill. And in the city, some of the buildings were destroyed and bombed out, and I saw these bodies just lying on the streets, and the soldiers were ruthless. I don't know who the soldiers were, where they came from or what, but they were really ruthless, and they had this intent on killing anything that moved. So even if it were an animal, they would shoot at it. And I remember somehow I survived the blast and I survived the shooting, and I was lying there amidst these bodies, and I remember having to play possum so that I wouldn't get killed. And I just laid there and I closed my eyes and just played possum, and the soldier was kind of a little distance away from me, but he thought he heard something from my direction, and he pointed his huge rifle at me. But I didn't move, and so I guess he thought I was dead, and he kept on going. But it was just a really scary, awful time. I believe it's yet to come, because I know things have been bad in history. I've been a history major. That was my major in college. But and I know things were bad at that time. But I don't think this time has come yet because of the evil that was there. It's just sheer. Can't just stress that enough. How evil, the feeling was in the world. There's just so much uncertainty and fear. It's just a very fearful time. But anyhow, the most recent dream that I had on terrorism took place in Los Angeles. I don't know why I keep saying downtown LA, but I saw buildings, older buildings, and there were scores of people lined around the buildings for miles, and they were waiting with pictures in hand, and just with the looks of desperation on their faces, just solemn looks of desperation. And no one was really speaking to anyone else. They were just kind of waiting, looking ahead, waiting for the line to move, which didn't really seem to be moving at all. It was kind of moving at a snail's pace. And they were waiting to see if their loved ones were alive or dead. And took me back to, when I woke up, it took me back to 9/11, after that tragedy, and how the heart-wrenching scenes of people with photos and just looks of desperation and looking to see if their loved ones were alive, and just trying to get any piece of any information that they could. My heart really goes out, and my prayers go out to them, even now as I think about that. But I saw the same thing in the dream, which alarmed me, because that was a horrific time in our nation's history, and I'd hate to think that we have to go through anything like that again. But I saw this in my dream, and I didn't see the attack itself, so I can't tell you what the event was. I do know it involved terrorism, though, and I know that I didn't see any of the destruction, the aftermath, but I saw the line of people waiting, and I woke up. And I believe I had this dream, if not last year, I think it was the year before. I'm sure I have it written down somewhere. I had another dream around that same time of bombs going off. It looked like Chicago. I saw a couple of businessmen walking down the street with their suitcases, not suitcases, they had on suits, and they had briefcases in their hands. And all of a sudden this blast occurred out of nowhere. I guess bombs were planted in different parts of the city. And I saw the gentlemen fly through the air, and they landed on the ground. I think they survived, but they were hurt pretty bad. And I saw others walking with blood on their heads, and walking around just being in a daze, just like what just happened. And I remember walking near, I think it was a brownstone. It looked like a type of a brownstone apartment building, and it had a basement. And I asked this elderly lady, "Can I stay here with you? I'm afraid." She said, "What's going on out there?" And I said, "There are bombs going off all over the city." I said, "Can I stay here? I'm afraid." And she said, "Yes, you absolutely." And I remember thinking I was going to get out soon and just try to get to somewhere to safety. I didn't know where or how, but I just knew that bombs were going off and that people were dying. And that's pretty much all I saw to that one. There's another one I saw, and I think this might have been downtown LA. It was definitely a large metropolitan city. It could have even been New York. But I saw this one involved bioterrorism, where I saw some type of chemical weapon had been deployed in this metropolitan city right at a time, I think it was like around traffic time, where it'd be like after work, people would get off of work. It was like rush hour, kind of towards the evening. But I saw people, the reaction of this chemical weapon. People were literally, and I hate to be gross, but they were like melting, like as if you put salt on a snail and see the snail melt. The people were lying there melting, and their skin was dissolving, and it was like they were dying a slow, horrible, painful death. And I haven't researched this one to see, what, if there is such a type of device available, but I remember after the dreams about the volcanoes and such, that I would do research, and it's amazing the information I uncovered after doing that. It was amazing what was revealed to me in my dream, and then to actually see the revelation of it on the computer as I'm doing my research. But yeah, the people were melting, and you couldn't touch them, because if you touched them, you'd instantly be contaminated. And I remember there were a group of us walking. I was with my mother and sister, and we were walking, and they were taking us to this quarantine area where we'd be safe. And I remember seeing this man on the ground, and the kind of heart that I have, I'm always trying to help, reach out and help someone. And I remember seeing this gentleman on the ground, and he was reaching his hand for help. I think he wanted water or something. It really wasn't much. It wasn't really anything I could do for him. But I remember kneeling down to pray with him. I took him by the hand, and I didn't have water to give him. And I was going to tell him I don't have any water, and I think I touched his hand just slightly. And my sister and my mom looked at me in horror. They were like, "Why did you do that?" And they were looking at the man to see if he saw me, because he was leading the group and he was moving quickly. And I got up and I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And I was like, they were like, "Come on, just come on." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I don't want to contaminate the group." And I didn't know what was going to happen. I was just praying that I wasn't contaminated, and that I don't know what to do. It's like I wanted to go with them, and I started walking with them. And I looked back at the man. I was like, "I'm sorry, I have to go. I'm sorry." And I don't know what to do. It's like I just thought maybe I better just walk with them and just pray that I didn't get contaminated, and pray that if I did get contaminated, that I'd be healed. It was horrible. But I remember walking with the group, and I was thinking the ethical thing to do would be to tell the man to just stay here. And I think that's what I was going to do. And my mom and my sister were panicking because they didn't want to leave me. And I remember waking up. And so those are the three things that I've seen. I had another dream where I was lying on my side, and I was in another large metropolitan city. It wasn't California. Could have been Chicago. It could have been New York. It could have been downtown Miami or something. I don't know. But I remember looking up at these buildings, and I was telling people that the time is near where things are going to change, and things are not going to be like what we know. It's not going to be recognizable like what we now know. And I was telling people too that didn't know God to repent. I remember I think it was one of the prophets in the Bible was lying on their side for a whole year, and they were prophesying to the people to turn from their evil ways. And I don't remember who that was, but that's what it reminded me of in my dream. But that's what I've seen. You can stone me if you want to, but I'm just sharing dreams that I've had. I can't help the dreams that I have. I can help what I eat before I go to bed. I know people eat things and then they have these strange dreams, but I doubt if that's what happened in these cases. So, just sharing with you again what I've seen. Take it for what it is, and above all, always be prepared no matter what. Be safe and be well. Take care.